Welcome back to the Sikhana podcast. I'm Akam. I'm joined here with Ibrahim or Brahim. Before we start the episode, background on Brahim. Grew up in Newcastle, went to Del Oro High School, graduated from Del Oro, and went to UC Davis, where he studied sociology, graduated within 3.5 years, and from 2018 to the present day, he's been working on the Blue Ox, been trying to scale it. And I started off the episode by asking him, what's your story, right, studying at UC Davis and then coming to own a brand? You obviously didn't study business. What was that story like for you?
I think like most brown people were born into it.
Yeah.
Dad came here and got into business early.
Huh?
Came through and started at the bottom, working for someone, then eventually took over as manager maybe, then, rented out the business and then went to owning a business. And so, ever since I can remember, he was teaching us everything, about business, whether it was, the restaurant industry, retail, sales. They all go hand in hand at the end of the day.
So what was your goal studying sociology? How did you come from that
Right,
to owning a business?
Well, the study of society was always interesting to me because growing up here in Placer County, you don't really get to see much diversity.
Yeah.
But, my father's businesses were in downtown Sacramento, so I would then go there and see a whole different world, just 30 minutes down the road. You're seeing something completely different, something that here you're not used to. And so, when I thought of what I wanted to do when I get older, I think it appealed to me to want to help people, to see, I came from a privileged life up here in Placer County, like most people, to going downtown and seeing a lot of struggle. And so I went with a sociology major because it was a good way to go to law school after that. So technically I was pre-law. Sociology has a lot of emphases. So when you go to college, you choose what emphasis you want to study. And so my specific emphasis was law and society.
So you were trying to go into...
I was pre-law.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that your plan when you went into college? I want to be a lawyer?
I was going to start studying for the LSAT. Then go to law school after that. But, my last year in college, my family decided, let's go open a restaurant. So then I got thrown into that business before I even graduated.
Yeah.
And I started running that place,
Wow.
going a full schedule at college and, going from UC Davis campus to downtown Sacramento to run that place.
Yeah. So how'd you start Blue Ox in 20? You founded the company right, in 2018.
Yes,
so
I did.
From the restaurant, what prompted you to even come up with that idea and start that?
So the restaurant opened in 2013, and it was initially between, the whole family. I got a lot of siblings, so it was a family effort. We all put our hands into the pot. It then dwindled down to just me and one of my sisters. Yeah. She was the last unmarried one, and then once she got married, then she was out. So, now I'm all by myself running this, full-on restaurant, lunch and dinner. But, like I said, it was in downtown Sacramento, very busy, very successful at the time. And I had a buyer, interested buyer, and who wanted to take over the restaurant. I had been, saying that I wanted to get out of it. And a friend of mine, saw that it was successful and made me an offer. So we took that offer for the business. We own the building. So then he started paying rent monthly. And with that money, I figured, okay, it's time to invest. At the time, it was either a house up here in this area or a building in downtown Sacramento. So Sacramento was booming. It was, the Renaissance. It was a good time period down there. The new Kings Stadium. Yeah. They had just renovated the convention center. There was a lot happening in downtown. And so I went with the building. And at the time, I initially just wanted to fix it up. It was a fixer-upper, I wanted to fix it up, get it looking good, and then throw it back on the market, to lease it out and just collect revenue.
Yeah.
Collect a monthly income, just to rent to whoever. It was a big building, 10,000 square feet, 3 stories, about 3,500 square feet each floor. So as I'm working on this building, I still live here in Newcastle, so I'm making the commute. And I'd go dressed, in my workwear attire. I'm coming from the farm. I got horses, at the time, cows, sheep, the whole nine.
Yeah.
So I'd go from the farm wearing my Carhartt and my Ariat boots or my Ben Davis or whatever it was that was just not the typical attire in a downtown urban environment. And no matter where I went, if I'd be working in that building, and then I'd go to the bar afterwards, and you know, people were always just asking me, hey, where do you get your Carhartt? Hey, where do you get your Ben Davis? They're just always asking me about my clothes. So I figured, do I need to, is this what I should just do with my building? And after some time, I don't know, it just kind of hit me. Yeah, okay, this store that I have, the building itself was set up to be a clothing store. It had been a men's suits and alteration store from 1968 to 2016. So he had some of the stuff in there, like the racks and the fixtures for clothes. Yeah. But I just kind of updated it, gave it a facelift, gave it my own flavor. Which initially the Blue Ox was a combination of workwear, fashion, function meets fashion, blue collar meets white collar. I'm doing country stuff in a downtown cityscape, but it worked because the brands that we carry speak to so many different types of people. It's not just cowboy rednecks up here in Loomis wear Carhartt, as you see it's now. And it was back. This is, we're talking 2017 when I'm building the business. 2018 is when it officially opened, but I knew it'd work. There's a lot of tourism in Sacramento, downtown still. It's a cow town. That's why the Kings have the cowbells,
Yeah.
So,
what was the biggest challenge you faced, right, starting that whole thing, 2018 to now? I mean, today's your 6th year. Congrats.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge for that?
Didn't even think about it until I saw the date today, but it's always challenging, bro. You're always gonna run into challenges. The times. When I go back and think about it, it was honestly just the nerves of, every business is a gamble. There's no guarantee, if you will. And especially with COVID, COVID changed the game. I didn't even have a website before COVID because the products I carried were the products that I most guys have to go in and try on. They're the products that you got to feel, you got to touch, you got to try on. I don't know if you know, but like if you ever tried on Carhartt, it runs big. The work boots, the leather boots, everyone's different. You got to try it on to your foot, especially with boots having a hefty price tag. It's not something you want to screw up.
So your Sacramento store closed down.
Yeah, at the first of this year, I decided to just end all operations.
Why was that? What was the struggle coming from that? Was that
downtown, bro? The state of downtown. I don't know if you've been down there lately to a Kings game. We're right next to the Golden One Center. Just that local, the local government down there just completely killed life. You used to have 100,000 people traveling into that downtown epicenter from surrounding, suburbs. You used to have 100,000 people coming into the downtown district for their jobs. Yeah. Whether it was county, state, firm, whatever was in those skyscrapers and surrounding buildings. I don't even think it's back to 30% of that number. Obviously, when we want to talk about the homeless, the homeless is a crisis. People are scared of them. They don't want to go and have to walk over them or, have to see them doing their things in the streets, which is very unfortunate because at the end of the day, that's our government's fault. Yeah. These people shouldn't be in the streets.
So then why'd you come down here to Loomis? What prompted that switch?
Well, again, this is the town that raised me. Yeah. This is the town that gave me the inspiration for the store.
Started, yep.
If it had not been Loomis, Newcastle, Penn, this surrounding area, I wouldn't be wearing the clothes I'm wearing. Sure. On a daily basis, whether it was to work, whether it was out, whether it was to work.
Yeah, so you came down here. Was there any part of you coming down here, was that like building relations? What was there anything that that helped you maintain relationships and grow? Did you guys came down here and you grew? Did you find positive business in coming down here from SAC? SAC kind of fell down. Coming here, how was that?
It's been great. The Blue Ox has been a business where I'm very, very lucky and thankful and grateful for its following. It's what surprised me the most, actually, when I started getting rolling with it, is how people have been loyal to the brand and how they have followed me from Sacramento to Loomis, and even during the pandemic, bro. Doing business during that time was unlike anything, especially being in retail, where people have to come to you. And during that time, I mean, I didn't really act like anything changed. I didn't enforce no masks. I didn't close down. And actually, you know, we were on the news for it a few times. But again, coming to my hometown was funny because I said I would never do it. You know, I always said there would only be one Blue Ox, and just yeah, you gotta go with the times, man. Things change. You never. That's the thing about business is you can never be nothing's set in stone.
Yeah. And speaking of that changing, in my business class, I learned that especially online markets and things like that, like even if you put a buy now button in the top right or the middle, like that increases sales by 10%. That whole idea of having to shift your company to online and having to create that website you talked about during COVID. I mean, how was that transition? I mean, what did you find in that? Was that something that people were telling you to do, or did you just decide, okay, it's like now I have to really hammer down this online part because things are shifting to online? How was that
Right.
transition, I guess, or I mean, how did you recognize that?
I have a big network in downtown, so I just asked around, saw who was good with. I'm not tech savvy at all.
Yeah.
So I found someone that I know and trust, and that that proved himself to be worthy when it comes to building a website and a Shopify store, and
Yeah.
I mean how we set up the shipping and the inventory and all that. So it's been great, honestly. I mean, yeah, I sent 3 packages out today. One was to Tennessee, one was to New York, and one was to North Dakota.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy to
Yeah.
see that they're coming to the BlueOx916.com when, they could very well go to those sites. It's a Carhartt beanie, a Filson hat, and what else? A Ben Davis shirt.
Yeah.
They could go to those brands' websites and order from them, but who knows? Those brands could be out of stock on that certain color. I could be the only one that has it, and that's been the case many times. So I think also a lot of people realize out there that, oh, I'm buying from a small business. Maybe they saw us on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I like to be relatable when it comes to how I run my page. I don't want to look big brand. I want people to know that you're buying, from a sole proprietor.
Mm-hmm. What I was about to ask you that, what makes Blue Ox unique, right? You're selling Carhartt stuff, you're selling all these stuff. What makes you stand out as a retail store?
Just all the brands under one roof. There is quite a variety, but I think, yeah, I go for brands that are hard to find. Obviously Carhartt now, but like Pendleton, this sweater that I'm wearing now, they've been around forever, but you won't find it in store.
Yeah.
It has a cult following, man. It's been around, like I said, since 1800s, and it's one of the last brands that's still shearing the sheep and making their clothes from wool, which wool is what humans wore from the beginning of time. We weren't harvesting cotton and going through the hardships of picking that and dyeing that and weaving that, because at the end of the day, it doesn't last.
Yeah.
You wash your cotton t-shirt, it's going to fall apart after, dozens, whatever, washes. When it comes to wool, I mean, you take care of it, your grandpa's going to pass it down to you, But I have little niches, like Japanese denim. If you ever heard of that.
I haven't.
Japanese denim is, something that, yeah, again, we don't see in stores because it has a very small following. It's expensive. A pair of pants can run upward $250, even to $400.
Yeah.
But again, it just goes back to quality. The craftsmanship. It's all in the details. And I like meeting those kind of guys that pay attention to those details.
Yeah.
They're very few, but again, it's all about preference, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So bring it back to you starting this out. You had the SAG building. People were asking you. You're like, okay, let me build a brand that represents me and is me. How did you start? I mean, how did you even reach out to people, big brands like Carhartt, and be like, hey, I need importing? I mean, where did that even come from? How did you start?
That's a good question. So I had a friend who had a shop, a hype beast store of all things, selling like Yeezys and
like the real stuff,
like Bape and all that hood stuff. He was in downtown, and he goes, "Hey, you're interested in opening up a clothing store? Like, what kind of clothes?" And I was like, "I don't know, bro. Probably workwear." He goes, "Oh, well, you should come to this convention with me in Vegas this weekend." It was happening that weekend. I mean, we're having this. Everything again happened so fast. It was happening that weekend, and you have to have a retailer ID, a sales ID number through your state, right? which I didn't have. So that's why he offered me to come with him. Was
Okay.
He had one under his business, and he said, yeah, come with me. All the brands will be there. All the manufacturers will be there. I didn't really know what he meant, but I was like, okay, I'm going to Vegas this weekend. Let's go.
Uh-huh.
It's at the Vegas Convention Center. And he goes, but you need to have like a business card. You need to have something to show them that like you have a
You're
building,
legit. Yeah.
that you own a building in Sacramento and that you're planning on stocking it with their product.
Yeah.
So I sat there and thought after that conversation we had, and oh, here we go. Like I have to come up with a business name now, and I obviously had an address, and I just put my cell phone number and made a quick Gmail for a business potential. But still, I started thinking about, okay, if we're gonna do workwear, what are we gonna call this place? And I started thinking about all the types of people that are gonna shop at this place, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, construction guys. What kind of construction guys? Plumbers, electricians, yeah, country guys, cowboys. Oh, and then I thought of why I had to go to a workwear store, weeks prior, and at the ranch, a big oak tree had fallen down, so I'm using the chainsaw all day long,
Yeah.
and you see when the chainsaws are running, it's spraying back a bunch of wood chips. Well, those wood chips were spraying down onto my pants that whole 2-3 hours straight while I'm cutting up this big oak tree, and they shut down. I was wearing just a regular pair of denim jeans, and I was working with those jeans for so long that the wood chips ended up blowing a hole through my denim.
Wow.
So yeah. So it ripped my pants, and that's when I thought, oh, man, I need to go get a pair of actual, workwear, Carhartt, double knees, the thick stuff.
The actual work stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so I went to a Bare Bones in Rockland, and I looked around there, and I just saw all the cool workwear, which I'd seen before. We all have that stuff, and you see other guys wearing it. But then I just looked around, and I was like, man, I could do this so much better. I could do something like this, because I always kind of cared about the way I looked. I have 6 sisters, bro. So so they were dressing me growing up. The funny thing is my sisters, my mom, I still to this day hate shopping.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
you got pushed into.
But I like shopping for other people.
Okay.
I like shopping for other people. I love the best feeling is when a guy comes into the shop, and his confidence might be low. I could just tell.
To build them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, bro, you wear that, I guarantee you're going out with something tonight. I guarantee you're taking something home tonight. And it happens. I'm telling you, it happens. He comes back and he says, you were right. These boots got me compliments. Or you were right. This hat got me, compliments. Or I know by this point. I've been in the game for 6 years.
You've been in the game for 6 years, and that's crazy. So that convention was that the only thing that...
So I went to Vegas, yeah, and back to that story, sorry. I started thinking about who's going to come to this shop, and I'm thinking about how I had to go in because I was hucking up a big oak tree, being a lumberjack, essentially. Oh, wait, who's a lumberjack? Oh, Paul Bunyan. You probably don't even know the story. You ever heard of Paul Bunyan?
I have not.
Yeah, they're not teaching it in the schools no more. But Paul Bunyan is an old American folklore story, right? They used to brainwash the kids a little differently back in the day.
Oh, wow. What was that?
But Paul Bunyan was this big giant, who, conquered the West, the Midwest. He was a big giant who with one swing of his axe would, cut down the whole forest.
Wow.
And then he had this big blue ox named Babe. It was like his dog, his loyal companion, who used to pull the logs, the trees that he just cut down. And that's how the West was built, upon all the forests and the trees that Paul Bunyan cut down. All the houses, all the buildings, all the structures that are made from lumber.
Yeah.
This is what they would tell the kids to, grow up to be strong and want to go to work in the field and build houses.
Is that where Blue Ox came from?
So yeah, when I started thinking about, me lumberjacking that day, and then just the Blue Ox, his partner in the show, book, wherever Paul Bunyan came from, I believe it started out as a novel, obviously, and then turned into like a little cartoon show. But Google it, man. Google. Look at one of these days. Look at Paul Bunyan and the Blue Ox. It's old.
Yeah.
And yeah. So and the funny thing is I happen to be a Taurus. So bulls, right? Bull went hand in hand. I love the symbol of a bull. It represents something strong, hardworking.
Yeah.
An ox itself actually is, you can take any type of cow, but the minute you strap a wagon to him or a plow for him to go to work, he becomes an ox.
Okay.
And it could be a boy cow, it could be a girl cow. So,
That makes sense.
an ox is the term for a working cow. Blue represents blue collar, so it all kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah.
It all tied together. And then I started searching the web for logos and, what we can make out of a logo, because at the end of the day, a brand is its logo. It's what people remember the most.
Yeah.
Even more than the name. So we came up with all that, and it worked out, man. I mean, like I said, I was on a path to change at that time in my life, and I think God realized that, and so he made it pretty all accessible. I mean, from the conception of the idea of Blue Ox, February, March 2018 is when it all kind of came to fruition, when I went to that show in Vegas with a fake business card, and fake. I mean,
It was fake.
It was on the fly, it was just a logo taken off of Google.
Is that what you pitched to those people? Just like this.
So then going to that convention in Vegas was every single brand, from, Dickies to Gucci to Louis Vuitton to Levi's to Carhartt to Pendleton. And I just walked around that convention center, and I was 25 years old at the time. Just, hey, I got a building in downtown Sacramento. Would you give me your brand? Here's my card. Here, can I carry your brand? And some of them would be like, what are you talking about, little kid? We're Red Wings. We've been around since 1905. Get out of here.
Yeah, we're the big stuff.
Right. We're legit. We're not, you don't, like, our name is serious. You don't just come in here thinking you could sell our name when you've never done this before. So that was eye-opening, and it was great because it only made me want it more. And some of the brands were like, yeah, sure, of course. Sounds great. Do you have, you're going to have to submit pictures of your building, your space. Yeah, because they want to see that you're legit. They don't want to just give any old guy their brand, because they have reputations. And credit, obviously. I'll tell you something about business right now that your school probably doesn't teach you, is that your credit score is your lifeline.
That's what
you probably hear that from your parents.
That's what I ask people.
Yeah, your credit score is everything, especially in America.
Why is that?
Because, again, it's before they even look at you in the face, they look at your credit score. It dictates whether you're honest and whether you can pay back your bills. If they're going to loan you money, are you going to pay it back, or are you just going to take the money and run?
That's exactly what I try to tell people, how important that is to build that at a young age.
That's right.
It's amazing.
The minute you turn 18, go get a credit card.
Yep.
It's only going to have like a $500, $600, $700 limit, but that's a good thing.
You pay it off.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, go to work, put money in your debit account, spend a little on the credit card, pay it off, and just keep doing that.
If you were to give me like one challenge that you even remember now, looking back, trying to either scale it, starting from a store in Sac, or what's one challenge that you would give me right now that you can remember, either going through now or we're going through, in terms of the business and how that was?
Aside from, personal doubt, I think when you're an entrepreneur, doubt is your worst enemy. You got to have confidence, obviously, just like most things in life. Doubting yourself and being scared or frightful or fearful of progress is always going to keep you back.
Yeah.
You have to have the confidence. That cheesy saying, confidence is key, It's the truth. Wow. Yeah, without it, you're not going to move forward. But also, for me, marketing was always tricky, I always had trouble with marketing because although I come off as extroverted and I can talk to anyone, that's just part of coming from a big family, But I like my solitude. I like being on the ranch with my dogs and my horses and, doing stuff outside by myself. Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't in the retail industry, I would just be, doing the farm thing.
Yeah. How'd you learn to adapt for that, though? I mean, marketing specifically is such a big part of
marketing. I mean, I always make the joke is marketing. You got to be a slut. You got to sell yourself.
Wow.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, why is everything you see marketing a beautiful woman? Because sex sells.
People. Yeah, it does.
Right.
Yep.
Everything you see, whether it's a pair of pants to a jacket to a hat to a beanie to makeup to anything, that's
that's why there's models. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Exactly. You're not gonna see an ugly person selling a product, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And just to be real.
No,
you know,
yeah.
I'm being honest.
Makes sense.
But when you start learning about marketing, it's twisted. It's really twisted. But there are brands out there that are honest about it and will straight, tell you. And I actually carry one of those brands. It's called the unbranded brand.
Wow.
Literally, it has no labels, no logo, no. And even they say we're not trying to sell you, have this beautiful girl show you that it looks good, or this handsome chiseled guy with an unrealistic body sell you something. We're just gonna give you a really good product.
Yeah. Is there any mindset that you got from attacking those challenges or trying to grow from that? I mean, for other entrepreneurs who are trying to deal with these setbacks, is there any mindset that you gained from that?
Yeah. Again, like I just was.
Confidence.
I'm brutally honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm brutally honest. Even if I mean these days, people are scared to hurt. Get their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
A lot of people are sensitive, and you gotta just, I don't know. I feel like being straightforward. And when it comes to business, you have to be straightforward. Do not try to schmooze someone and by giving them unrealistic,
Expectations or
exactly.
standards. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't try to sugarcoat things. Just tell it how it is. People respect things when they're straightforward, even if you can't deliver. You know. And I learned. I mean, I've known that. My father has drilled that into me from the beginning of time. Obviously, old school, brown, Middle Eastern,
Yeah.
straightforward, expects, high expectations, especially when you're surrounded by 6 sisters, and you're the only boy. So.
Hold on. You're brown, but you grew up on a farm taking
Yeah,
care.
bro.
Where did that come from? Your parents
Well, where we've come from in Palestine, we were
Okay.
farmers. We were farmers.
So-
Olive groves,
Okay.
olive orchards.
Uh-huh.
So olive oil, olives, and then throughout those groves, there's lamb. So you
Yeah.
shepherd lamb throughout,
Yeah.
those olive groves, couple horses here and there just to grow up with as well. And it's the way, it's the way of the world. It's how it should be.
Yeah. Do you ever leverage that story, or whether it's your background or whether it's the idea of being on a farm and growing up on that, and do you ever leverage that to make you unique in a sense? Is there in terms of branding, in terms of your own brand?
Yeah, it's funny because when I talk to people who are marketing experts and, I try to go get advice for the store and how to market, they always want to leverage that story, yes.
Yeah.
Because consumers want to be closer to, the owner. And I think it probably helps, honestly, when you see the face behind the brand, that this is a real person, that this guy, oh, look, it's actually, his brand is his life and how he lived and these clothes he's actually wearing in his day-to-day life, and so he knows how they work, and you can show them that they're quality and they can stand the test of time.
It's real type of thing.
Yeah, but I'm not a flashy person. I don't want to be in your face. I want to be private, and even though it's proven that most people probably would support a brand more when they see the person, I'm just not that guy. I don't know. I can't get past it. Yeah, I can't get past it.
That's fair. Loyalty and customers who keep coming back. I mean, they're the backbone of your brand. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like these people who enjoy it keep coming back, keep wanting more.
That's right.
What strategies have you used to build that loyalty and maintain those connections with those customers?
Obviously, yeah. I mean, customer service is everything. Again, in business, whether it's food industry, sales, retail, you name it, you gotta treat your customer right. And again, I mean, I'm honest, I'm open, I go above and beyond. If there's something they want, I will, go out of my way to find it instead of just be like, nah, we don't have it.
Yeah.
Be like, let me, what are you looking for? Oh, you want this? Well, and then I'll give suggestions, and then I'll be honest. If they're looking for something and I think it's not a great product, I'll tell them.
Yeah. Where'd you learn that idea of customer service and the way that you do everything? Where'd you get that from? And where'd that come from? Was that just you having a job at a young age? And
I've always been a people. My wife gets mad at me that I'm a people pleaser sometimes, because she's like, these people don't care about you. What are you going above and beyond for these people? But again, that feeling of what goes around comes around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I believe what goes around comes around. Karma's a real thing. If you're good, good will come back to you. And so it kind of goes without saying. I don't know. I couldn't imagine being a different type of way, but obviously there are. There are those people where you go and you're looking for, you expect service, but they're just there for a 9 to 5, bro. You know,
Has being a people person ever like been a bad thing?
yeah, totally.
When is that in terms of business? Has it ever?
Talking about those people that just could care less whether you're good to them or not. Those people that don't appreciate your service.
Yeah,
and I don't blame them. Like, I'm sure, they got their own issues.
Is there one thing that's like that you've implemented, whether it's something in the marketing or something within customer service or whatever that is, that has worked surprisingly well and like has actually made an impact that you're like, whoa, I did not know this was going to do that. Has there been anything like that?
We have, again, this area, bro, we are blessed. I mean, if you want to start a business, I do believe when people see, a young person trying to go off and take that risk and they can tell that he's a genuine person, they're going to support you. So even day one, 6 years ago today, December 17th, 2018, my store wasn't even full. And I had just been doing, minimal posting on a social media page that maybe had like 500-600 followers, which was only started a couple months before while I was building the place, just like little coming soon, little previews of like boots arriving, from FedEx and like shipments coming from FedEx and just advertising that there's this new store coming into town, downtown at the time. And I think just seeing that people actually showed up on the first day,
You had a grand opening or something?
No, not on the first day.
Wow.
I had a grand. When you open a business like that, you call it your soft opening stage. You do minimal advertising. You test it out. It's like a rough draft of a paper, right?
Are you fully stocked at that point, or
no? December 17th, 2018. Not all the orders had shown up.
Okay.
But I knew I needed to open before Christmas time. So smart. December 17th, 2018, I had spent the whole year fixing up this old building, from everything from drywall to paint to electrical to lights to flooring to, showcases. I mean, you name it. And yeah, I think back to that day, bro, and just being scared that no one's going to come. You're not going to make a sale. You did all this for nothing. And then actually seeing the response from the community, then getting, public recognition, whether it was the Sacramento Bee or the Sacramento Business Journal or SAC News and Review. And then once they write a piece, then everyone comes running. Fox 40, KCRA 3. Oh, yeah, it's a new business on K Street. And the owner's 25 years old. We want to see what the heck is going on. So it was cool. It was the golden era.
Yeah. Financially, when you started it, though, what was your situation?
I had saved money, obviously.
Okay, so that's how you could do money.
But yeah, I think by the end there, December 2018, I was tapped. It was time to go. Like I had used all my funds.
Okay.
Obviously, took a loan.
Yeah.
And that was all because of a credit
score.
Yeah. That was all because my years prior, I was spending on a credit card and making those payments, and not the minimum payments.
Yep.
Don't ever fall for that.
Yeah. Advice. We're gonna put this into advice for others. A little shift for someone considering opening a retail or clothing store. What's just one general piece of advice that you give them about managing inventory, storefronts, online sales, those types of things?
Oh man, that's tough. I don't want to wreck people's dreams. Right? I don't think many people have a dream of going and opening up a retail clothing store anymore. But I mean, it's a whole different game. It is a whole different game with online, with everything being in your phone. I mean, today, 2024, is a lot different than just 6 years ago. Yep. So unless you really, that is your passion, you love it, just go niche, go something that no one else is doing. That's my advice on that, because again, it's pointless to have a brick and mortar these days.
Yeah.
Honestly, brick and mortar really it doesn't mean much unless you actually have a service to your customer. Um, yeah.
Little reflection thing. If you were to go back in time before you started the Blue Hawks,
Before.
what would you have changed? What's some stuff things you would have changed if you were to go back in time right now?
Oh, I would have. Oh, I would have invested in Bitcoin.
Okay. Wow.
I would have invested in
Gotten
crypto,
rich,
bro.
gotten
Yeah,
rich.
yeah. Look what happened. Look what happened once this fool got elected.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it jumps.
Yeah.
Again, it's at a historic all-time high.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But business.
But no, I mean, that's unrealistic, bro. Nobody knew anything about that. Business-wise, job-wise, industry-wise. Oh, it's tough. I can't answer that question just because I believe God has a path for us all, man. Honestly, you are meant for what you're meant for. And you learn, God throws things your ways for you to learn from them.
Yeah. How important is religion in your...
To me, it's very important.
In terms of what you bring every day to the table and you wake up and your attitude towards that? Because obviously, managing a retail store, you deal with all types of people and when whatever's going on in your personal life, you can't, right? I mean,
right. You have to put on a face. You have to put on a smile.
How do you wake up every day and
but again,
put that on?
But again, bro, like... I'm a Muslim. Mm-hmm. And so Muslims are taught to be compassionate, merciful. God is in everything we do. If you know anything about Islam, it's not what you've been told on the TV. It is the religion of peace. It is the truth. It is, we are supposed to pray 5 times a day. So just that in itself, is reminding us from before the sun comes up to midday to before the sun goes down to then when the sun goes down, we are praying to God. And so even just those times, before you take a bite, you are thinking of a bite of food, a drink of water, In everything you do, you should live a righteous life. Mm-hmm. And so even with hardships in the world, you should always be thankful to God, right? Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, you always thank the Creator. Yep. Because at the end of the day, things could be a lot worse. Yeah. Things can always be worse.
That's your mindset every day?
My mindset, yeah. As we say, Alhamdulillah, all praise be to God.
To God, yeah.
Because we're breathing. We have food in our bellies. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people take that for granted. Yeah. The 30 days of Ramadan, we fast sun up to sundown. No food, no water, no nothing for 30 days. And my white friends used to ask me all the time, how do you do that? You're crazy. Oh, my God, I can't go without water for 5 minutes. It's like, come on, dude. You have no self-control, that's why.
So putting on that front for people, I mean, that comes from, how'd you learn to get that? I mean, how'd you learn to shift your mindset walking into a store to a business mindset?
Discipline, bro. Just discipline. Coming back, being first generation, you should know all about that. Mm-hmm. It's just we're different. We're raised different.
You just work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing's handed to us. Nothing was ever handed to me. I know that, and that's what my dad said to me. Whenever I'd ask my dad for anything, nothing was ever handed to me. I came to this country at 17 years old with nothing. And look what I've given you. Yeah. If you could be a fraction of what I am, you'd be lucky. Is what he used to tell me. Yeah. So yeah, that'll light a fire underneath you. Definitely having a father like that. And I'd hope to think that most men would raise their children like that. But again, it's different times. Yeah. Think if a father said that to his son today, the kid would go cry in the corner.
Go Twitter. What's something that most people misunderstand about entrepreneurship that you've witnessed firsthand?
Misunderstand.
Like misconceptions.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that, your life is just great. Yeah. Bells and whistles. You're rich. You own your own business. You can do whatever you want. But I think that truth has come to light, for most people. And owning a business, no matter what it may be, I mean, you're married to it. Mm-hmm. It is your child. It is your wife. It is, it is all the above. It comes just like any other relationship 24/7. Yeah. It's not no 9 to 5 where you can just clock in, clock out. Which sometimes I do miss that because I worked for the man and, obviously out of college and And in between jobs, I went and had a good 9 to 5 steady paycheck, which was nice. But at the end of the day, you're bound to someone else. You're stuck at that known income. Whereas being an entrepreneur, it's you obviously have to have a specific type of personality. You have to be, like I said, confident and be willing to take risks.
Yeah.
And not know what your income is going to be that week, that month, that year.
Where'd you get that confidence from, though? I mean, is that just you just put yourself
Bro,
out there? And
honestly, this town right here, Loomis.
It's just the support.
It wasn't the support. It was having to fend for yourself. You're the only one like your kind.
Sure.
I was the only one with a weird name that didn't eat the pepperoni pizza, that didn't celebrate Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
So, of course, you're getting teased. You gotta, what are you gonna do? Like, again, go in the corner and cry?
Yeah.
Are you gonna
do
rise
something
up
about
and-
it.
Yeah. You have to be a man, right?
Uh-huh.
And even as a boy, you have to stand up and be a man. And that's where it came from, I think. I think this area, honestly, is what gave me my mindset. That and, like, obviously, going and traveling as a young kid, seeing other parts of the world, coming back here, using that influence and that perspective to just make me understand and know that I don't want to waste a moment.
Did you get any skills from college that transferred into that? Did you take anything away from college? I know you had that sociology and you're going into law, but in terms of bringing that back into the Blue Ox.
Yeah, of course, man.
What'd you get from
Especially with what I studied. I mean, sociology. If you look, it's like the things you never think about, and the study of society and why things are the way they are. I guess it all kind of translated into understanding the clientele, understanding the public, understanding demographics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how to market. I guess if you understand your demographic, you should understand how to market to them, right? So. And in college in general, it gets you set up to really work in the real world. Before college, we're sheltered, we're living at home, we're going to high school, we're in our bubble.
Exactly.
And then you go out into the real world, and there's nobody telling you what to do. You don't have to go to class if you don't want to.
That's where that discipline and that whole
exactly.
And
why do a lot of kids come back from college after that first year? Is because they don't got mom and dad behind them, telling them to go to class and take their tests and be on time and all that. But I wanted to be done with it. I finished college in 3.5 years.
Wow.
It didn't even take me 4 years. Yeah, I taken 22 units one semester, which is insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
Typical semester is 14, 15 units max. But I overloaded and I took summer schools because I wanted to get out there and start making money.
Are you trying to go back use that law background in anything?
I don't know, man. I think about it, but no, probably not. Now that I know a lot of lawyers and what their life consists of. Yeah. I don't know. Show me a happy lawyer and then maybe.
True. Do you have any future ventures then? I mean, in terms of entrepreneurship, or you just plan to continue Blue Ox? Is there anything else that would you ever consider going into something else?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Definitely. No, Blue Ox is not the ceiling, bro. The Blue Ox is not the limit. Blue Ox, at this point, I just recently got married, so and now that I see my wife starting to run the shop, it's starting to open my eyes that, hey, anyone else can run the shop,
Yeah.
At this point, I can put anyone else in charge of it, and I can go off to. I still own the building in downtown Sacramento, so I've got commercial real estate under my belt, and yeah, that is my next venture. Is at the end of 2021, which that's a kind of end of COVID is what we thought it would be, right? And and when I just realized, okay, this is not working, here in downtown. Downtown's a ghost town. What can we do differently? Well, we can demolish this building is what we could do. I own the land. And we can go to an architect and we can have him redraw something new. New plans, redevelop the building, And so, downtown Sacramento has a shortage of residential. There's a lot of people that go to work in downtown, but there's not a lot of people that live in downtown.
True.
So my idea, that beginning of 2022, I hired an architect firm.
Oh, wow, you're actually doing that.
Oh, yeah. I have buildings, plans, drawings, the whole nine.
So is that apartments or is that, what is
that
it?
That is 65 apartment units, 7 stories high. with 3 retail units down on the ground floor.
Wow. So this is the start.
No, yeah, this
Yeah.
is, I mean, the conceptual design, all the engineering has already been done.
Wow.
And just to have an idea from your head come to paper, you know, like that was $100,000.
Wow.
Just to do that, you know, to have it all finite, to be able to hand over to the city of Sacramento and say, hey, I own this land right here, and this is what I want to do with it. Now the city comes back and says, yeah, okay, we'll let you do that. Or no, it's not what we want in our city. Obviously, they're going to say yes, because they call it a multi-use building, you know, mixed use, where, you know, people are living there, and then there's retail or shops down below.
Below, yeah.
And then, you know, there's underground parking as well. But it's what that city needs. And in all, it'll probably be around $25 million to do.
Wow.
But again, you have good credit, and they'll give you
Everything
loan.
works out. Yep. If you were to share, right, that's obviously a crazy just like step to take.
That's real estate development.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is real estate development, commercial development. It's big time. You know, you drive down the freeway and you see all these apartment buildings being built. That's what that is.
Yeah. Would you, making these big decisions, is there anything like when you're uncertain and you're taking a risk, is there anything that you develop or that you have that you're like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. Like because you know, is it past confidence, past achievements? Like what prompts you to be able to take those big steps? I mean, for people who are trying to start out and have, you know, are scared to take that step, what would you tell them? Just in terms of, right? I know you've talked about confidence. I know you talked about discipline. Is there anything else that you're like, okay, if you're trying to take that big step, just do it.
Just do it.
Look
Yeah,
back
just
and
do it. I used to think about it all the time. Like, man, I just want to demolish this building because, you know, like just downtown. I mean, yeah, dude, from 2020 on, it was frustrating.
Useless,
It was frustrating. You know, you're used to all these people walking in the streets to literally nobody, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, where did it all go? What am I going to do? You know, you start thinking as an owner, you start panicking. You know, to be real, that is the ugly side of entrepreneurship. Yeah. That is when things are bad. You start worrying. And so I said, God, what can I do? And you got to just pick up the phone and call that architect. You know, just call him and say,
take that step. Yeah, just do it.
Take the step.
Yep.
And then he'll spark, you know, he'll make that spark and you'll start to get excited again. And you'll just, you know, put the pedal to the floor, bro. As soon as you get that excitement and you have that vision, that's it. You know, there's only going up. It's only up from there.
Okay, one lesson. Just look at that camera for one lesson. You could tell people who look at this. One lesson they could take from your story that you would hope that they just take away from this podcast, from listening to this. If there was one thing that you could give them advice, what would that last thing be?
Just go. Just get just hit the floor running, one step in front of the other. Yeah, I mean, it sounds so
cliche.
Yeah, cheesy. But those are always the things, you know, there's a reason those cliche remarks go viral and they stick with you, is because you just gotta, you know, just make that first move. Pick up the phone. No, nothing is, you know, you'd be surprised at what you can achieve when you actually just tunnel vision. Okay, I haven't used that yet, but tunnel vision. That is what I had, and I forget about it because I haven't felt it in a while.
Yeah.
You know, but this thought of tunnel vision is where you see nothing. You put the blinders on and you just look at that goal. You imagine December 17th, 2018, opening day, your first few customers, you're making sales. You know, you just imagine whatever it is your vision is, completed, done. You went through all the hard work and you got to exactly where you are. Because, I mean, it's been done before. Why can't you do it?
Last thing. Is there anything, where can people find Blue Ox, right? What's the website? What's the store? Where is that? I mean, last thing.
TheBlueOx916.com. We're located at 3705 Taylor Road, right here in good old Loomis, California, the 95650.
That's the elevator pitch right there. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on.
And don't forget to free Palestine.